no doubt that over these many years of listening to stories, that it's been recognized that there are many, many stories of different kinds, the fairy tales, the myths, the legends, the fables, the allegories, that contain similar characters, archetypes, numbers, and symbols. And we can all relate to the kings, the princes, the princesses, and the like. But there is one recurring symbol, and in another story it enables a very pointed question to be asked as we delve into the mysteries hidden in plain sight. Similar to a story told the other day, but with a very important symbol as its center. And it's the story of a rich and noble merchant by the name of Hazrat Imran Khan. Now, one day when Hazrat Imran Khan was out hunting, he happened to find in the woods a small girl, her clothes quite ragged and looking quite thin and forlorn. So he alighted from his horse and asked her who she was and what she was doing here in this forest alone. And the young girl said, "I'm Kubila, and I was taken from my garden while I was playing with my 3 sisters by a group of nomads. And I was brought to the edge of a cliff, and when they camped for the night, I was able to escape from them, and I've been living in the forest on the fruit and seeds and drinking from a stream nearby. But I'm lonely here, and I need to go and find my way home." And so Hazrat Imran Khan said, "Let me help you. I can take you to my home, where we will take care of you until we find your parents." So putting the little girl on his horse, he took her back to his home, where his wife and his 3 daughters were awaiting him. And they were greeted, and immediately the wife gathered up Kubila and took her in and bathed her and put her in fresh clothes. Excuse me. Choking on his story. And they heard her story, but they adopted her, and time passed, and she grew to love this family. In fact, she began to forget about her own family and where she came from. And then as she grew and the years passed, she grew into a beautiful, clever and very refined young woman, which brought her to a marriageable age. And it so happened that one day, while she was out gathering roses in her garden, the prince of the realm came riding by, and seeing this beautiful maiden, fell instantly in love. Now he could not wait, so he sought out Hazrat Imran Khan and accepted his hospitality, so that he was taken in to the house, which was like a palace because they were so rich and fated and the like. And then Kubila came back from the garden and passed through the sitting room where they were sitting conversing, Hazrat Imran Khan and the prince. And she too was smitten by this handsome prince as she slipped up the stairs out of sight. Now, after the prince had been fated, he blatantly said, "You will excuse me if I seem to be up there, out front with you, so to speak, but I have fallen in love with your daughter and seek her hand in marriage." "Oh," said Hazrat Imran Khan, "which daughter are you speaking of? I have 4 daughters. And of course the prince replied, it was the one who was gathering roses from the garden. And Hazrat Imran Khan said, "Oh, that would be Kubila. I will speak to her, and if she accepts, she will become your bride." Well, of course, Kubila had caught sight and fallen in love with the handsome prince, so readily agreed to be his bride. The prince rode off to make arrangements for his marriage. But as we know from other stories, the 3 other sisters had become jealous of Kubila's beauty, refinement, and cleverness, and when they heard of her impending marriage to the prince, that jealousy knew no bounds. But the day of the wedding came, and Kubila was taken off in the refinery as her bridal gown, and the marriage took place. And the prince and Kubila were very, very happy, having fallen totally in love with each other. But, as in previous stories, the 3 sisters, in their jealousy, started to send out rumors to all. Where did this girl come from? She said she was taken by nomads, but maybe they just dumped her because she was a girl. And so she's just a wandering gypsy. And so it reached the ears of the palace, the queen herself. And so that bitterness began to fester until the moment came when the queen called Kubila to her and questioned her about her origins, where she came from. Kubelar told the story again, but now the doubt that had been planted in the Queen's mind had firmly taken hold, and she said, "Well, it is doubted, and I have heard from other sources that it could be this or that, and it seems that you are not a suitable bride for my son, the prince. I always thought he was too hasty in choosing you and bringing you back to the palace." Now Kubelar cried, tears flowing from her eyes, saying, "But I love Sadiq," the prince's name, "with all my heart, and I will be the best wife to him that I can." But the Queen went on with her tirade of doubt. "No, no, 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 this cannot be. I will send you back to Hazrat Imran Khan, and my son can choose one other of the other sisters for his bride." But just in the middle of her tirade, she said, "What is that you've got around your neck? I recognize that. What is it? Show me." And so Kubelar took the silver chain that she had around her neck, containing an amulet, and she said to the Queen, "My mother gave this to me when I was just a small child, and placed it around my neck, telling me to wear it always, saying that it would protect me from evil." And tears began to flow out of the Queen's eyes, and she said, "Oh, my dear, dear child, I am so, so sorry. I recognize this amulet. It was one of a pair that I gave to my dearest friend with whom I grew up with. I know it well. I know your dear mother, and I must tell you that she and her husband were murdered by brigands some time ago, but they had told me of the story of how their small daughter had been taken by nomads. Please, please, dear child, forgive me." And the Queen embraced Kubelar with all her heart. We know the rest of the story, as many stories go. But the question that arises from this and those other stories containing a similar symbol, whilst we know what the king, what the queen, what the princesses, what the princes represent within ourselves, can we yet claim, recognize what it is that this symbol represents? This amulet that is worn in plain sight, like the glowing stones of other stories. Many, many stories containing a similar sacred symbol. What does this symbol, this amulet, this glowing stone of other stories represent for us? What is it that's with us always? The mystery hidden in plain sight. What does this symbol mean for us as we claim that which is there with us? Our secret, our mystery, hidden in plain sight.
It's the connection to the source that she had forgotten and rediscovered, and then made her what she was.
Recognized it. Yes.
So that we